Big Brother and Brightburn coming up next on the blog rundown. And we're going to kick off the show, John, with a review that's came in from DM Anderson. It's a film from 2018. It's called Big Brother. And it stars one of our favourite martial artists, Donnie Yen.
It does indeed, Stephen. This one was directed by Kai Y. Kam. It was written by Tai Lee Chan. And it obviously, as you did say, stars Donnie Yen prominently. And then obviously Joe Chen and Kang Yu are the others that make up the numbers. Apparently, Stephen, it's all about sort of an education setup. He goes into the school, somehow becomes hired as a school teacher despite having little to no experience in that sort of a job. Doesn't matter, no, he just rolls up, and as Dave does say, it's like signing up or trying to get a job at a 7-Eleven. That's obviously a random shop.
It's like Spar.
Yeah, the Spar over here. And then he obviously gets embroiled with these Wrongians in his class. He starts teaching them the errors of their way, and he gets them rounded up, and they start obviously excelling, I would presume, in obviously the grades and whatnot. Starts beating up MMA fighters and whatnot. Stephen, I haven't seen it. I don't want to just give you a synopsis of the plot. You can go into IMDb and get that if you want. But we spoke about it. Reading the review again, a fantastic review from Dave once again. He's just got away with words. The chap never realised he was a teacher himself.
No, didn't know that either.
He's obviously the best person to really come in and pick holes in this sort of set up this plot. Being a teacher himself, he knows what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. I'd presume beating up MMA fighters is not part of the CV when you want to apply to be a teacher. But look, I digress. We both said, it should be, yeah. Some of the people I went to school with, I would have beaten them up if I was a teacher. But Stephen, I digress. Getting off into a tangent here.
Yeah.
We want to continue, or start the way we're continuing on here. We don't want to get into 6-foot holes and get lost and need to scream for ropes to pull us out. We both says it's kind of a like kindergarten cop meets
Sister Act.
Sister Act meets Fist Fight meets School of Rock.
School of Rock, yeah,
School
that's
of Rock,
as well, yeah.
Yeah, but you're getting in teaching these young children different ways to perhaps educate them, and then
Donnie Yen is more believable as a teacher than Jack Black, to be fair. Especially Jack Black 2003, but you're right, John.
Taught them a cool song though.
One thing, this is what I love about the blog rundown, especially films we haven't seen. When you read these reviews, it intrigues you enough to seek out these films. This is one that I definitely want to see now after reading Dave's review. I've not went on to IMDb to read the synopsis or anything like that, or other reviews. I
just took it straight from the review, Stephen.
Exactly, but listen, it's Donnie Yen. We're both big fans of Donnie Yen as well. And
we are indeed.
Listen, these kind of films, as we compared it to those other ones, you just take yourself out of that reality and not take it too literal.
Yeah.
There's a purpose and there's a story, a plot there that serves the characters, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I can see where the writers, or is it the writer Tai Lee Chan is doing here. It's better these pupils.
Yeah.
They're obviously, as you say,
coming from a rough part of the area and the city or whatnot, and obviously he's taking them and he's teaching them slightly different skills that they wouldn't perhaps get from a regular teacher. He's showing them how to fight and whatnot, I presume, and just obviously martial artists, they've got a strict discipline that obviously guides them through life and whatnot. And you can kind of, I suppose, put that into education and it would work. I suppose I'm not a martial artist.
No.
I'm just speaking on what I would see as being what martial artists and maybe transcending over into teaching. I don't know. But Stephen, I went on to Rotten Tomatoes and they're on a similar page. The two people that have actually reviewed it, that is, one is from Roger Ebert, the other is from South China Morning Post. They're both saying it's an enjoyable movie for what it is. It doesn't stand up to much scrutiny, but it just about gets the job done. And Donnie Yen is obviously the leading man. He is the guy you're probably going to go and watch this movie for. And he does what he does best. He just transfixes you with obviously maybe some fighting scenes and just the way he is, as Dave does say, he's a very charismatic chap. He's shown that time and again. Dave does say it himself that look, it's essentially just it's an experience that you can live vicariously. If you're a teacher and you've perhaps wanted to act out and maybe beat the living shit out of somebody who's been in your class, you can't do that because you'd lose your job. So you can go and watch this and live vicariously through this story. And we've seen that in many, many a movie, Stephen. Perhaps there's some things happening in your life or whatnot, and you want to live vicariously through these characters you're watching on the screen. I'm being a little bit distracted here. I feel like my Labrador's trying to get in the room. That would be an absolute disaster. So I'll pass it off at you, Stephen.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
John, listen,
he's way down.
Dave does mention as well there is a goofy subplot, which intrigues me as well. But I'm just looking at the actual movie poster as well, and talking about goofiness and cheesiness, that is up there with the best. Donnie Yen kicking some books.
Yeah, it's like a Jenga tower.
Yeah, so listen, we'll move on to our next review anyway, John. This comes in from Stephen Wilkins, and it's Brightburn.
Yes.
Both seen the film now, John.
We have, yes.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well, Stephen. I have
Steve
to say.
does mention, that it is a predictable film. You've seen the film before me, but we did discuss those trailers. The trailers really did give the game away.
They did, yeah.
But there's not really much.
Surprises.
No, I always feel that horror films, they have to show you the best bits in the trailers, and sometimes they do give the game away. In this instance, there's not much more you can do than everyone that's seen this film, or at least seen the trailers, are saying it. It's the flip side of the Son of Jor-El story.
It is.
And it is. That's basically it. And as you get from I don't know how many trailers there was, John. Maybe 2.
I think there was more than that, Steve. I think we reacted to at least 2, and then there was some TV spots as well.
But stuff. But listen, I liked the film. Steve's review as well kind of sums it up for me, what it was and what I get out of it as well. Yeah,
Stephen, as he does say, many a person has probably fantasised over the years, big fans of Superman and just comics in general, what it would be like to see Superman going rogue, being high on or high off red kryptonite, as Steve says. We get this here. This is obviously the coming from the mind of James Gunn, I do believe. I think, or no, perhaps he didn't write it. I think he may have produced it. I think he produced it. It was Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn who wrote
related,
it. They may be. I think they perhaps are. David Yarovesky directed it. I actually watched him recently, Stephen. He was doing an interview. Very intriguing chap. He's wanting to go off and adapt perhaps BioShock.
Interesting.
Enjoyed the experience of coming in and doing this darker sort of a horror story, alternate version of a more heroic origin story. As Steve does say, very predictable film from start to finish. There's nothing that you're going to go in and be shocked about what's going on the screen. As you said, Stephen, the trailers really did give every single aspect of the movie away.
There wasn't real. John.
Yeah, us was like that. There wasn't one real big sequence or scene in the movie where I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that in the trailer. No. And that's something new. Even the flip with obviously the foster uncle, I think it was, he flips the car over and then pounds him into the ground. But I wasn't caring about that, Stephen. I knew what I was going in to see. I was going to see this darker origin story of a sort of a grotesque, evil Superman. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. As he does say as well, once the movie just turns and this little chap full rogue, Brandon that is, and it just goes absolutely apeshit crazy, and that's when you really start to get thrust into the story and it becomes a more enjoyable experience.
Was it James Gunn that we were talking about a few weeks ago that was considering opening this world out to other
it was
flip side superheroes? It's fun like that because
it wasn't that he was saying it. I think it was the end credit scene.
Right.
Obviously, we had,
that's what it was, John. Exactly.
Michael Rooker, I think.
Yep. We were watching a trailer the other day. We did a reaction for it in Fabric.
Yeah.
And you made a good comment, and it kind of took me back to that. You made a comment about it being like Doctor Strange's cape.
Yeah.
Is that maybe the flip side?
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Obviously, I'm joking here, but I like the idea of that. I do like that. I've seen a few DC animated films where they've taken that concept and flipped. I'm trying to think. Crisis on Two Earths, I think it was called.
I think. What's his chap again? The baldy guy. I forgot his name. Lex Luthor was the president of the United States.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, there was a lot of those things going on. I think, I don't know if it would work, on film, live action. I'm not really sure. I don't know if that would be too much. I think DC really do have to play things pretty safe at the moment.
Yeah, well, the beauty of this is, Stephen, is I don't think it actually is connected to DC. They're slightly changing things. It's obviously clearly, the parallels are there. It's clearly a darker retelling of a classic DC story, but they've done just enough to differentiate it, so they're not going to obviously be done with any lawsuits or whatnot. But I don't see DC or Warner Brothers going after James Gunn, who obviously was the brainchild, him and perhaps his brothers behind this, producing it. when he's currently writing the Suicide Squad. So
yeah,
there's potential for them to perhaps open it up, Stephen, with that great end credit scene. It was a great little montage of obviously this news reporter, sort of Alex, I think it's Jones style news reporter, telling about various different things that were going on around the world. But look, we're not here to discuss end credit scenes, we're here to discuss the review. I really enjoyed the review. You nailed the movie for me, Stephen. I'm in complete agreement with Steve. It was a fairly predictable experience, but it was a great, viscerally violent, sort of a gore fest of a horror. I loved this little chap. I didn't care about, it actually says it to you, Stephen, I didn't actually care about any of the characters out with the Brandon character. They were all fairly side players. They didn't really flesh them out any great deal. I was absolutely delighted to see that little bitch that was obviously bullying him at school. Her mother getting a comeuppance because she was going off on a real tirade against him at the school, and then later on that night he turns up at her workplace and she gets a shard of glass in her eyes.
One thing I will say, John, is that apart from those sort of jump scares you got in the trailer, there was a few more in the film, to be fair, and that's what really.
Not many though.
No, there wasn't many, but it made it enjoyable enough, that horror is such a unique genre to advertise it and promote without jump scares. You can't have a trailer without jump scares if it's a horror, because then you don't get the feel of it. But I think they couldn't work around this one, unfortunately. But I think the story itself was intriguing enough to basically get me along to the cinema, because as you know, John, I'm not the biggest horror fan, but this did have a twist on it. Yeah, John, exactly. And I was intrigued to see how this would play out, because it's just one of those things that I never really considered they would do on film. I know this isn't a direct, I know they're not going to admit saying this is a direct copy of the Superman, but when you're talking about, the uncle, what happened to him, that is a flip side of basically what happened to Clark Kent's Earth dad with the truck about to fall on, he saves him. There is a bit of parallels there, so I enjoyed the review, I've got to say. I'm glad we got to speak about it as well. I know we've spoke about it on Box Office Chat, that kind of thing, so it was good to just really get into this and talk about it a little bit more. Steve's review as well, I can't really disagree with anything he said in it.
No, it's not going to be a prestigious award winner, he says at the end, Stephen, but it's just a fun experience. You can go with a group of friends and go and really just dive into it and enjoy the insanity and just the gore and whatnot. The final thing I would say, I really like the fact that and Steve actually touches upon it as well, just what would happen if he had no real emotional tie to humanity, like obviously Kal-El has in the flip side heroic story. This little guy has no connection. When Holmes starts calling him and he goes full crazy, his one kind of a real connection to the human side of him is his mother or his stepmother or whatever. Tori Breyer, played by Elizabeth Banks, who was actually very good as well. She was another standout. I liked the fact that at the end they toyed with the possibility of him perhaps being redeemed by her. He goes all the way up into the sky with her, and then no, evil little git just drops her, and then he brings down a plane. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. I thought that was wonderful. You're like, he's not going to bring that plane down. Fades to black, and then he's sitting in the back of an ambulance with a sort of a cloak over him.
Yeah, little rascal.
Yeah, and there's parts of planes all flying about the place in debris. So yeah, that was wonderful. I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it, John. But listen, this brings us to the end of this week's blog rundown. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back again tomorrow with the Force Friday show.